first. People don't know, don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's what we're doing first.
So what did you say your call sign was?
Dozer.
Dozer?
Yeah.
What about you?
Forge.
Forge. And then we have
Mayor.
the mayor. Is it mayor or the mayor?
It's the mayor down
Pull the
here in
mic.
Virginia.
Pull the mic to you.
It's the mayor down here in Virginia. Thanks to my buddy.
It's just the mayor to me, man.
It works for me though. I'm down with that.
That's awesome. How'd you get Dozer? Is that what you said?
I just kind of got that from, I guess it really came because, working in the field of construction, doing site construction, things like that.
Okay.
And that's always been my probably favorite piece of machinery to run. So
Yeah.
just kind of made sense.
Sweet. What about Forge?
My name was given to me basically because I have coached football for the better part of 2 decades. I love to teach. I'm also an adjunct college professor. I run a prison. I'm a warden. My goals now are creating that successful reentry and more of a focus on rehabilitation and reintegration. So, forging people into what they were to being a better citizen. So that's kind of where my name came from.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. Mayor, how'd you get your call sign?
So I thought it was going to be ice. I really thought it was going to be burpee. I had a burpee shirt on and everything.
Yeah.
And 2 of my guys from Wednesday morning that got me to go to Men's Alliance said, no, his call sign's the mayor because we can never find him in church. He's always shaking hands and kissing babies. And then Nolly spoke up. You guys all know Nolly.
Yeah.
And goes, this guy's definitely the mayor because he sent me an email already being here for like 4 times at 2 in the morning saying, hey, I don't know about this, but I think you guys should do this for a Christmas party and this for a community event with all the guys. Maybe we can do that. I just loved it immediately, and I'm like, here's a bunch of stuff we could do
Yeah.
as a group. And so he's like, the mayor works.
Yeah, mayor's better than wedding planner.
Is much better than wedding planner, yeah. Doesn't fit the whole mantra of Men's Alliance.
So you want to take it from here? Why are we here? What are we talking about? I have no idea.
Yeah, so Forge kind of kicked it off, and I was like, wait a second, why? How did you not get warden now that you're a warden? But anyways, we've got enough wardens. But I think that kind of ties into why you guys are here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take this one.
All right.
So the only reason I know about Men's Alliance in general is because our chaplain started going to Men's Alliance, several months before I started going about a year ago. He loved it. He thought it'd be a great thing, a great way for inmates leaving our facility to have a place to go, to have support network. He's like, you're not going to believe this. This is unbelievable. The cool thing about we have 3 chaplains, and they do amazing work. They work through Good News Prison Ministry. I'm not sure if you know about them. Good News Global. They're all over the country and parts of the world. Anyways, we have 3 full-time chaplains in our prison, very large prison. And he was my childhood best friend. It was interesting. He did 20 years in the military, command sergeant major, got out of the military, gave his life to Christ, changed, and now he's a chaplain in the prison. Same prison that I work in. It was pretty awesome. Everything came full circle. So I trusted Chap. That's his call sign, Chap. His name's Mike. He said, just come check it out. I want to see if we can get this program in the prison. I think you'll be really good for the inmates. I'm like, okay, I'll be out there. He goes, bring workout stuff. And I think it was February, about a year ago from today, pretty close to that. So I go out there. Of course, I'm blown away. My first experience was amazing. I was accepted. I've never seen anybody kind of, so many people wanting to shake your hand all at one time. Usually as a prison warden, they kind of look at you differently than that, right?
Yeah.
So it was unbelievable. It was awesome. So the goal early on was to try to get this program into the prison. So we brought this to our prison solicitor, kind of said, okay, here's the program. Here's what it's all about. I let Chap give his spiel about what it was all about. Our attorney he's an amazing man. He's been in the business for many, many years. He was a district attorney a long time ago. I think he was involved with the county for over 40 years. Well, we came back for a secondary meeting about Men's Alliance, and he says, I Googled Men's Alliance, and I saw that it said they were barbarians.
Yeah.
He was, I I don't think that's a good thing to have barbarians, people who don't conform inside of a prison.
Oh,
So
right.
we tried to convince our solicitor that it's not exactly what they mean. Being a nonconformist doesn't mean you don't conform
Right.
to rules. Right. So
Yeah.
obviously you guys know that. So it was
We're not sovereign citizens.
yeah, right, exactly. So then you have the issue of not being able to have a fire inside of a prison, which I'm sure you'll get into why this
Yes.
is sitting on top of the table here. And also having any type of leadership inside of a prison is dangerous. If any inmate's a leader over another inmate, there's potential for a
Right.
power struggle and
Hierarchy. Yeah.
exactly. So he was very much concerned, and me knowing what Men's Alliance was all about, I wasn't as concerned, but I understand where he's coming from. So we had to shift gears. And
Who was this? The position that was
was-
having these concerns?
it was our solicitor of the county, or prison solicitor. We have our own attorney assigned to the prison.
Oh,
that
the
does
attorney.
nothing-
Okay.
Yes, the attorney.
Okay.
So it was more of a liability issue than anything.
Yeah.
And I had heard before that there was another prison somewhere here in Virginia that had a sheriff that was able to get Men's Alliance inside of the prison. So I thought it might be worth a shot to try it.
Yeah.
So, long story short, we didn't really want to stop there. We knew there was still benefits of Men's Alliance in general being in the building, maybe not in the same respect of full-blown having leadership with the fires and the workouts, because obviously there's some danger in that too with the workouts, even some liability. However, we know what the devotional is like. We know that last 30 minutes, or the last part of our session, that 30 minutes is pretty impactful. And we have other prison ministries and Bible studies in the prison. Why not allow Men's Alliance at least to do that portion of it? And then the goal would be, even though you can't do the rest, you can set the foundation, and then we have a place and we have a contact already for when they get out of prison. Hey, we have 5 tribes in York County right now. Is there more than 5 now? Or is it close? There's a handful of tribes, and they keep growing. I think there's another one starting up in a couple weeks. So no matter where somebody lives in York County, if they get out of prison, they can find one close to their house. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So the goal is we start this now, and we have a place for them. Day one. Hey, when you get out on a Wednesday, I'll see you on Saturday morning, or I'll see you on Thursday night. Make sure here's where you can go. Here's the person that's going to be there. So, and they already have an idea of what it's all about. And we're using it as one of our, not just helping inmates while they're inside of the prison, dealing with their struggles and dealing with their walk and their faith. It's a reentry effort.
Right.
We're giving them success, because when you first get out, that's the most detrimental time to either reuse, substances, trying to find a job, the social networks, all the things you're trying to repair that you lost along the line are gone. So having that group right away is absolutely important for successful reentry. So this is actually one of the most impactful things I've seen in a long time in terms of reentry.
And some positive familiarity. People not going back to their bad environment.
Exactly.
It's like I had a positive experience in prison, and now it's not over. I can get out and use these guys to bring me up out of my old situation.
Exactly. And it's easy to fall back
great.
into those old ways of doing things.
Right.
Sometimes when you're at your lowest, and that's when you start looking up to God, right? When you're in prison, you've lost everything. It's easy to, I shouldn't say it's easy to find God, but it's sometimes easier because you have time. You don't have all the struggles of the world and all the things you have to do in your job, and like seeing my PO and doing my urine, doing this group, doing all these things you have to do when you get out. You have time to stop and think, and to really kind of contemplate life and which way you should be going. It's sometimes easy to find God. We have lots of services. We have different chaplains that are there to do one-on-ones, but when you get out, that's when the world's thrown at you. So to have those people, like you said, right there to pick you up, and other Christians,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So where are you guys currently at in the prison? What do you have set up as far as Men's Alliance? Is it just the devotion that you guys are doing now, and you're working towards getting the workout, or what are you guys doing currently?
At this time, we're not doing the workouts, but I think Dozer can explain how the nuts and bolts of how the actual Men's Alliance ministry is going inside of the jail. So you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So, as somebody who has experienced the inside, because that's where it all started for me, right?
Okay.
In terms of my walk with God, my understanding and relationship with Jesus. What we're doing inside right now, just to get to that first, is we're doing the Devo. That's where this guy right here comes in, because you can't have a fire, but
Yeah.
hey, where there's a will, there's a way. You're always going to find, if you want something bad enough, you're going to find a way to make it work that's acceptable to both sides, right?
Yeah.
Axe, another tribesman from, he kind of attends, I'm not sure which one's his actual, Keystone's his main tribe. So,
Yeah.
but we see him at a bunch of them. He's always at all tribes, and he's very involved, and he's part of what we're doing in the prison. And he looked up and found these, and I said, beautiful. That is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's been great. I mean, the inmates come in and they go, "Oh man, you guys got the fire going tonight,"
It still does something.
And it does.
Yeah.
It's
It's pretty neat.
it's like that little beacon of
Light.
light. It's
Yeah.
a beacon of light. It's a beacon of consistency. It's all these different things that are symbolic and that they appreciate.
Yeah.
You're setting that groundwork for when they get out.
I am.
They're going to be expecting that fire. So when they're walking up to the tribe, the reason we say we want that fire going before people are there, so when they're getting out walking, they see that fire.
Yeah.
So they know, because you're bringing that in, that's what they're looking for. And when they see it, they're going to feel at home. They're going to feel like they have their tribe, right?
Right. And that's absolutely it. And, so I heard you say the word reentry multiple times. Ford says it. I told these guys, listen, we can't be an official tribe without the official everything. Okay. But I do lovingly call them the reentry tribe. And I tell them that. And they will say the creed with us. There's a chalkboard in there, and we'll write the creed on there. And matter of fact, I'm not sure which inmate, but one of them talked to the chaplain, and he had them print off the creed. And a lot of them now have them in their cells. That's great.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, you look at this creed, every line of it, you can find a biblical truth to go along with it. I said, so that's what we're offering to you. We're not your typical, I hate to say stuffy and sound like I'm talking down on something, but Christian services, right? I feel like where they're at in life, they need something that's got a little more wow factor. It's a little more shocking. It's like, hey, this is kind of interesting. I really want to investigate this. You guys talk real. You don't try and use all the church lingo. You're just talking like, look, I'm a redneck construction worker. I talk how I talk. And they're going to be like, I like that guy because he talks how, he's not trying to be prim and proper.
Yeah.
You're meeting them where they are.
I am absolutely, and so is the whole team, right? I mean, Mara's a part of it. We have acts. We have guys constantly asking, "Hey, can I get involved in that?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." We're looking at ways to have a second hour with a different block, because why should one block get everything that Men's Alliance does have to offer? Try and get it into all of them. I mean, from what I understand, I've been a part of Men's Alliance, I think, for about, it's coming up on 2 years now. It's got to be. I'm not good with dates.
Yeah.
And my Christian walk was, it's always been going up. But I feel like as I became a part of Men's Alliance, it went, because why? We have men of every station in life coming alongside, building each other up. These guys need that. You find guys who are in the lowest and say, hey, what if I was able to give you the help and walk alongside you as you learn how to be the better husband, leader, male figure, whatever it might be. I mean, uncle, right? Whatever. Strong male role model influence. Like I said, I was on that side. 22 years ago, I made a decision in jail, sitting in those same orange jumpsuits like those guys now, that I wasn't doing this anymore. I wasn't coming back. But prior to that, I went to jail 2 years, back to back. The first year, I would go to the Christian services, and I was like, it's a way to get off the unit. It's a way to get off the floor.
Yep.
Something to do.
Something to do. Kills an hour of time.
Right.
Yeah.
I came home. I actually, my current wife, my wife now, only wife I ever had, I should say. I've known her since I was 4. She saw me in between my 2 jail stays. And she's very happy to share with anybody that when she saw me that summer in between the 2 times I went to jail, she thought I was a waste of a man. I can't blame her. I was pierced everywhere. I was, every word was a cuss word. I spoke very lowly. You call them a B. You do all stupid crap that I've since learned. That was no way to live or have respect for anybody, and certainly not myself. Go back the next year, I go back to the same facility, same Christian services. However, different me, because I found God. Or I don't know if he found me there or I found him there, but either which way, we met up. And when I came home that next time, I told the inmates this. Hey, I prayed for a good Christian woman because I needed that helper. God says it in the beginning of the Bible. It wasn't good for Adam to be alone, so shouldn't be good for me either. So he answered that prayer. I get these inmates, they're like, how do you know that he gave you a good Christian woman? Well, first off, I asked her to go to the movie The Grudge was out at the time, because I'm like, hey, I want to go see this horror movie.
Yeah.
And she agreed. I don't know why she was wasting her time on me, but I knew that she was a Christian because she said, I would do that if you would go to church with me on Sunday. So I knew that she at least had something saying that she follows God. I tell everybody this. I definitely married up, way, way, way up. And I don't know why she married so far down, but that's okay. Since then, we got 8 kids together.
Yeah.
But, the thing is, what Forge was saying, you get out of jail. You get with the same people. You get with the same environment. You will end up back in the same place. And that's what happened to me those 2 years back to back. I got out, had no care, had that disrespect for myself and everyone, and ended up right back in the same place. Fast forward, I did the prayer about the woman. She helps me. I'm off probation early because I'm so focused on what God would have me do and how I should be living now, what the Bible says, that I changed everything.
Yeah.
Or best I could. I never not failed from there.
Right. How long ago was this? Like
20. It's been about 22 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So how old were you when you were in and out of jail?
About 20. Let's see, I'm 48, so whatever the math is.
Okay. Right? Yeah. Wow, 8 kids.
Yeah, 8 kids.
How old are your kids? Do you even know that?
Yeah, I do know that. So it's
my
funny.
dad didn't. I'm one of 7 kids, and my dad couldn't tell you all our ages either.
So the funny thing
so
about
if you
that,
could do it,
I know the ages of them.
Yeah.
Not only do I know the age, I even know their birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you are good. Yeah.
But so there's 8 of them. The 2 oldest are 29.
Okay.
So each of us had one coming into our relationship.
Okay.
And then you jump down. The next one in line is 19.
Okay.
So it's 19, then 18, 17, 14,
Wow.
12, and 10.
How many boys and girls?
6 girls, 2 boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So
You like being a girl dad or a boy dad?
He's laughing over there. Look.
I know. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't say I like one better than the
They
other.
both got their ups and downs, right?
It's very different, right?
Yeah. I know.
The girls worry me more.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like they say, when you have a boy, you have one boy to worry about.
Yeah.
When you have a girl, you have all boys to worry about.
Exactly.
Well, multiply that by 6.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Man.
and then we have one grandson. So
Wow.
So you know what? If you want me to pick a favorite, it's him.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what? Since we're talking about kids, I think it's a good time to take a break real quick and let everyone know about Warrior Princess.
There you go.
So April 11th to the 13th. If you haven't signed up yet, go to the men'salliancetribe.com on the experience page and sign up for Warrior Princess. It's our father-daughter camp out. Dude, archery, fishing, BB guns. I mean,
You will have the time of your life and memories for the rest of you and your daughter's life if you sign up and you experience this with them. It's incredible. It's awesome.
life-changing bonding experience with your daughter. So don't miss out. Warrior Princess, April 11th to the 13th.
Yep. Jesus wants you to do it. All right. So how long have you been a prison warden?
I was promoted in, I think it was officially June of 2021. I've worked in the same prison since I got out of the military in 2000. So
Okay.
September of 2000, and I left briefly to go to school out of state, and I came back, and I've, ever since.
You just kind of worked your way up?
Yep, from correctional officer all the way through the ranks, so lieutenant, captain, deputy warden, and warden.
Wow.
Yeah.
I worked in a jail for like 6 or 7 years. So I know,
You
I know a little
understand.
bit. I know a little bit about
You
it. Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
You're asking about the what they're doing now for Men's Alliance in the jail. So we have a multi-purpose room that we use for all kinds of different services, church services, classroom stuff, all kinds of different uses. And it's interesting. I was walking by on a Monday, didn't really realize it was a Monday, and that's when Men's Alliance was there. And I'm walking by, and I'm sort of seeing somebody that reminds me. I'm like, wait, I know this guy. When they're not out with their MA t-shirts and sweatshirts on, they look a little different, especially when you're in your own environment. I think I walked in, I saw Voice. I think you might have been there that day, or maybe it was Mayor. I'm not sure who it was the last time I was in, but it is really kind of cool to see your MA brothers in the parking lot on Saturday. Then
Right.
a couple of days later, you see them inside of the prison, and you feel like, wow, they're kind of in my space. This is pretty awesome. So. It's really good to see. I know Torque's now involved. And how many guys do we have now from the tribe coming in?
I think we're up to 8 right now, and it's constantly growing. So the guys always asking, how can I get involved? The cool part about this is, and this is the model we kind of set up for this, is we have the guys that go in. I go every week because I felt like consistency is key. And then we'll take 2 guys that will rotate out to come with us. There's always 3 of us. Or I'd say 95% of the times 3 of us. So I actually have Smoke. He just got involved. He wants to get involved, and he's a great. I've heard his devos. That's what I'm really looking for or what we're all looking for really, and what we should be looking for is guys who are going to be willing to give the devo a testimony. Like, I don't know, it's hard, right? But more than that, we need the teams on the outside, the guys in the tribes. When we send these inmates who come out, I can't be the only person they ever talk to. So we have guys who are like, hey, I'll pray for you guys while you're in there, and I'll walk alongside them when we come out. They're wingmen. And it's kind of like, that's critical. I think that's the crucial point. You come out and have somebody to attach to, not in a needy way, but just making sure you have that support system quickly. Because you're right about that.
If you're going to do a receiving team, I know some churches do that. If you're going to have a receiving team, you should have somebody who's willing to go pick somebody up that day. I think that's important too, because transportation is such a hard thing. If you haven't worked in a long time, you may not have a car, you may not have your license. So I think that's a good idea. Maybe we create receiving teams that just will pick you up. We're going to take you over, and guess what? We're going to go to round the clock east, not west. Show up at east. We'll be there Saturday. We're going to have breakfast afterwards, pay for the meal, break bread. I think we should really dive into this receiving team piece.
One of the things that just got started down here, so we have what Redemption Tribe is in Chesterfield County Jail here in this area. And then we had a guy that was in that tribe, incarcerated, that just got released recently. And it's not a halfway house. It's almost like a rehabilitation or
re-entry kind of house.
Place.
It helps
right?
guys find jobs.
And he was wanting to start a tribe. He's there. So the facilitator of that place allowed them to start a tribe. We just launched, I think it's called Strong Will Tribe, right? Wow. And they're meeting Sundays at 6 at this house. So they're running a tribe at the house. So it's not just, hey, you guys have a tribe to go to when you get out, but even at the re-entry or the transitioning place, they're putting tribes there. So that's something, if you guys have that in your area, definitely look into that and use your connections as your position to reach out to those guys and say, hey, look, we have this program that we're starting in the prison, and then we want a place for, if they're going out and going into these houses, that they have tribes at those houses.
So you don't have to worry about transportation.
Awesome.
The guys are
So even that gap in the middle, like we have our tribes that we're running, we have tribes that we're trying to start, but at that place, let's put them there too. So we're hitting them all along the way.
Well, I was going to say that's one that we have actually. We were talking about that coming down the road. It's you know the name of it. They call it the Rock.
Yeah, so we have a really cool thing at our prison complex. We have it's probation run. It's called the Reentry Opportunity Center, or the ROC, ROC. We have it adjacent to our work release facility, where inmates in work release can walk over to the ROC, get services, apply for jobs. They can have peer support specialists there. They have a lot of people that work in and out of that area that help the community as well. But as they're transitioning out, they're getting all these services to get them set up for success, right? I get a text from, it's Shauna Griffith. She's the executive director for the Reentry Opportunity Center, or Reentry Coalition, sorry. She goes, hey, I just got a text from Dozer. I'm like, you got a text from Dozer? They said, yeah, or he started talking about wanting to have a reentry tribe here, and she said, I just cut him off about 30 seconds in and said, no, I already know about that. Me and Adam talk every day. Yeah, I'm fine with that. You guys can run a tribe here. So she already heard me talking about it over and over and over through our reentry efforts together as advisory board members for the Reentry Coalition. So I thought it was funny that our worlds are all connecting. It's amazing.
So did you say you don't work out in the jail for Men's Alliance?
Do not.
Why is that?
It's the liability with injury.
Okay.
So if somebody's leading a workout and they would get injured, like inmates leading a workout, it could be a potential liability issue for us. Now they are allowed to exercise on their own.
Yeah.
We have full court basketball out in the courtyard. They have an opportunity to do dips, things like that. But when it comes to actual somebody leading the workout, he said it was too much of a liability.
So what if somebody wanted to lead a basketball game as the workout?
Hey, I like that.
Could you guys go in
You
there?
got to do what's allowed, man. Come on.
The Men's Alliance guys like Dozer and the other guys that are going in to help lead and facilitate, could they lead a workout that the guys just participate in? Like, is that something that you guys have looked at and tried to address yet?
We have tried. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Now they do have things like yoga, but our instructors go through extensive training to be able to be yoga instructors.
We can't do yoga.
No, we're not going to do yoga. So. No, I know.
Yeah,
No,
that is in our leadership guide.
So, in my opinion, what I think that we just need to do is, hey, did we even think we were going to get this far into it, right?
Yeah.
You pray about it.
Yeah.
You keep praying about it. And if it takes a year, if it takes 2 years, if it takes 5 years, it just doesn't matter if it's going to be successful in the future, I think. That's, when I think of all this, because of what, I wish I had had something like this when I got out. And because I see the importance, just as the whole thing, right? The whole Men's Alliance, I see the importance. Because of that, big picture thinking, I wish every prison would let us do it.
Yeah.
Not that I could go to every prison.
Right.
There's a lot of those. But it would be nice if, men from everywhere where there's tribes right now said, hey, I could do that. So I think part of what this is also saying, hey, these are some of the challenges you might run into. And now you're aware of that going into it.
Right.
Of, it could be that it's legality.
Yeah.
Whatever. Try and get in the smallest way you possibly can. These men need at least a real world devo by real world men who aren't trying to use, like I said, all the biblical lingo. You can learn that later.
Mm-hmm.
Men, are you in the market to buy, build, or refinance a home? If so, you got to contact Chris Norwood, call sign Coop. He's with Towne Bank Mortgage, and he's been doing this for over 22 years. He's licensed in 16 states, and he can absolutely help you get the house that you need to get. Contact Coop at Towne Bank Mortgage. You can contact Coop at 804-439-3206. That's 804-439-3206.
Get them right now.
Would we love the full tribe setup? Yeah, because we know that when we do the workout, that's an icebreaker for us. That breaks down those walls and helps us open up when the Devo starts. We can't do that piece. It's all right. You guys are getting Men's Alliance into that jail, that prisons, and they're seeing it. They're seeing, hey, there's a brotherhood that actually cares about me, that wants to support me, that when I do get out, because I'm on this path and I'm trying to get better, I have a support system. I know as soon as I get out, and then we start working them out. Then we start breaking them off.
Right. Yeah.
But they have that, and you guys are setting that up. So, man.
So when you get in there, what's it look like? Like, are you guys still sitting like in a circle around the fire? Are you guys doing the memory verse, or like, or is it like you and they're behind bars and you're talking to them that way? Like,
no, so it's a big room, like
Okay.
a classroom.
Yeah.
Not like desks and chairs, but
Right,
like
right.
benches.
Yeah.
And then there's a table up front, and we set this one there, so it's
Okay.
kind of elevated, and they can all see it. And
Yeah.
like I know Mayor, myself, Chap's really good at it. He's very comfortable there. I'm comfortable,
Yeah.
but have started to sit intertwined with
With
them,
them.
right? Because you don't
Yeah.
want to feel like you're talking at them all
Right.
the time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're less in, I got all the answers, you were
Yeah.
here to learn. So that's where we're at right now. They've really become super responsive to, now we're starting to ask questions and,
Yeah.
and, you know, here's our Devo. What do you think about this? Or how does this relate to your life?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Are you finding guys actually opening up yet and like sharing? Because we all know in jail, everything's about image, you know, like, and it's all about, you know, am I as tough as you? Is he? You're constantly sizing people up, you know,
No.
and inmates are masters at body language, you know, because all we do all day is look at each other and watch each other from a distance. So we know if someone's faking it, or, you know, you just know if someone's being real or fake or is putting on a front or whatever. So are you seeing those kind of facades kind of back away while Men's Alliance is going on?
Yes, and I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up, because that's the one thing is, from someone myself who was raised on the streets and ran around Baltimore City,
Right.
which, given the proximity of York to Baltimore, there's a lot of them in there. I see them tattoos, Be More, and things like that. And so I know them.
Right.
I don't know them, but I know what they went through. A lot of them. You know, the difference between sympathy and empathy, I can truly understand. But yeah, I am seeing that, and you're right. They will read you, and the second you're fake, they're shutting you out. It's kind of like my wife and I always say, first, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's what we're doing first. So we're showing up. I could sit there and beat them with all kinds of different Bible lessons. But I'm like, hey, man, well, you know, where are you from? Oh, okay, yeah, I know that area. Or how'd you grow up? Yep, I understand that. I was like, you know, that's why I think I strive well in this space.
Yeah.
Because when I look at them, I see a lot of guys where I'm like, I was that guy.
Yep.
And now I'm this guy. And the only separation between what you're doing and what I'm doing is God really got a hold of me and said, hey, stop being so stupid. I mean, because, you know, that's how he's got to talk to me. Some people, he may be like, you're doing the wrong thing. Me, it's more like, I'm going to hit you with this brick and you're being stupid, so wake up.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how, like, we're the ones that make those choices? Like, you made that choice that ended you up there, right? You made the choice that ended you back up there. But God is the one that uses what you went through, that whole struggle, all the learning and developing that you did, right? To now have those lessons learned to go back into the prison, to be there for those guys so they don't make that second mistake that you made, right?
Right.
You lived through that. You've done the work for them. So now you can go back in there and be that example, right? Like the testimony thing, your testimony, you went through the test, right? To go back in there to be able to say, guys, look, I'm here. So they can look at you differently than they would look at a mayor, right? Because mayor, you know, he's the mayor, right? Oh, this guy.
Would you say in the
Probably
last
coming in
in
a
the
suit.
last podcast, like you're the most qualified?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So a quote is, you're the most qualified to help the person you used to be. And that's exactly what you're doing. Like, you are most qualified to go back in there and help inmates because you were an inmate. You lived that life and now you're on the other side of it. So, like, do you think about that at all when you're going through this? Like, man, like, regrets? Oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Or do you have a different perspective on it now? Like, man, maybe I was allowed to do this so I can go back and help these guys now.
It's funny you say that because I used to think, I used to be like anybody else. Oh, well, if you could go back and change anything, would you? And, oh, yeah, I would probably change this, that. And probably over the last several years, I've thought, no, I wouldn't change not one thing I've ever done or went through. Do I feel sorry for what I've done to people and myself? And sure, I should.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate the idea that I've offended people or stolen from them or done just stupid things. But how could I be sitting here talking to them in a real way if I don't understand what they're going? Like, just a small example is somebody talking about how he was proud of himself, one of the inmates, because whereas he could have grabbed the milk that somebody left behind, he was like, I didn't do that though. I gave it to the guy and told him, here's your milk and blah, blah, blah. He's doing the nice thing, right? The right thing. It's not his.
Right.
He's returning it. Somebody who's never been on that side doesn't understand that.
That's huge.
If you don't get commissary, if you have no money, you don't get extras.
Right.
So that milk, man, if all you get is your 3 meals a day, that milk's a big deal to me. I'm gonna hoard that. I'm gonna drink that. So I understand that though. And it was of no fault of one of the guys that night on our side who was helping do the Devo, but he kind of glazed over that, and I backed up and I said, wait a minute, that's actually a big deal. So let's acknowledge that a moment. Like I said, not anything wrong with the tribesman who's helping lead. He just doesn't know because he wasn't.
He doesn't have that
there.
perspective. Yeah.
But I love that guys like Mayor are there, guys with this biblical knowledge that, like, I don't know everything, and I love other perspectives. So you don't have to have been there to be able to come in and minister there. You just have to be willing to do what God says.
That's good. What else?
What's your take on it, Mayor? Like you've been a part of the group going in, right? Mm-hmm. Like how has it affected you? Like what's your thoughts on it? Like you going in.
Dozer asked me first to go in with him, and my answer was, for what purpose? I serve zero purpose in this situation. I knew his story, his testimony, and it was very early on in Men's Alliance. We had another tribesman. He was in a bad way. He had to go get picked up from doing a lot of bad stuff. And we were one of the few guys in the phone calls. All of a sudden, there was 7 tribesmen outside of the jail to pick this guy up, to go help him pick him up, dust him off, and get him back up there. And I'm standing next to him listening to his story about how, man, it would be so cool one day if I could help people like this, because, I was saved in a prison. I don't know him from Adam. He was just some big dude with no sleeves on his shirt. And, going to Keystone Tribe on Wednesday nights.
Wearing a Torque shirt.
Yeah.
Wearing his Torque shirt. And just watching what MA's done for the 3 guys on this side of the table, because you had Dozer that was angry. He was an angry dude. Wasn't even sure he wanted to stick around. And all of a sudden we're talking and he stuck around. Forge, I get a phone call. I'm at a silent retreat. Hey, the prison warden's coming out today. I need you here. Yeah, I'm at a silent retreat. We're getting the prison warden to come out. You got to come. I need you here so we can show him Men's Alliance. And that was Torque calling me in the beginning. Okay, I met him. Oh yeah, it was a big deal, man. And he was angry. He's just mean, angry, and also crushed it. I mean, you want to talk about the workout? This dude beat it. I'm looking at Torque going, man, we shouldn't have wore our vest today. This man's going to kill us. He was just, I'm going to work out fine. You could tell he did not want to be there. He liked Chap. He trusted you. Okay, my boy Chap told me to be here. I will be here. But we just busted out the workout and started to figure it out. He has completely changed. I mean, the one day he did come in there, we were there. He was like, oh, you're going to be there? I got paperwork to do. I'll tell my wife I'll be a little bit late. I'm talking to an inmate about his girl, his kid, misses his kid. We're praying for that because he's just desperately trying to see his kid, and it's a struggle in that situation. I see all of a sudden some guy comes behind me. I'm like, this is the day. I'm done. I didn't even see him. There's only one door in that room. I'm all the way in the back of it.
Here I come, God.
Yeah, this is my day. I did not see him. I'm like, oh, thank God. It's Forge. Hi, Forge. How are you, buddy? Gave him a big hug.
Well, I'd have my back to the wall, you know.
I was trusting God in the moment, praying with this inmate for his kid in a situation, and he gets up and almost gives a 30-minute Devo himself and about starts bawling because of how it's changed his life and changing the prison and watching the men work and just softened his heart. It's ridiculous. It is absolute to see how it's affected everybody differently. You know, my wife is like, Mike, if you want to get into ministry full time and you guys know, leave my job and be able to spend more time to work with the men, I think this is a good idea. Okay, honey, I'll go into the prison then. And I've had a blast talking to the guys, working with the guys, doing patch class and learning apologetics and, you know, going through that process. The questions these guys ask, there's days I'll sit there and go, yeah, Dozer, what's the answer? And they'll go, do you know that? Oh, I'll give you the answer, I guess, but I guess Mayor's going to know the answer. Going, was that in that patch thing? It sure was. Let's go. And no lie, it's like you're walking through and these guys have real questions. Yeah. And you'll see guys in the back row, they're angry, they're acting up. And Dozer having 8 kids has been great for this. You know, I got 8 kids. I don't hear much. But me not being in the prison, I don't realize this is a break for them. They get to relax. They're not afraid they're going to get beat up. Somebody steal their stuff. They got to act all rough and tough. They can let their guard down in here. So I'm like, all right, don't get mad they're talking. And the next thing you know, you got the one kid who, when you're looking at him, you're going, cripe almighty, he's young.
Yeah.
Like, why is he in here? I mean, it makes you feel bad. And all of a sudden, he asks a phenomenal question. Man, I'm mad. I do this stuff. I pray every day. Read my Bible, and I'm not talking to nobody anymore. It's not working. Nothing's. I'm just shutting myself off from the world.
Yeah.
And it was out of nowhere, just amazing. So I mean, it's to see it like this, and what it could become, just from where it's taken the guys on this side of the table, and then letting God work it out in His time. I think is just amazing. We will have a real reentry tribe. I guarantee we'll get it at this home, this workhouse for the folks when they get out of here to try and get stuff moving. I guarantee it. We've got guys, tribesmen, that want to be in the prison with us and either can't. They can't do it with their schedule. They were not approved, but they're at our 2 churches, LCBC and Living Word Community Church, the 2 main churches that all of our tribes kind of possess, that are ready. The minute we get guys coming out, they're ready to go. We have found out that most of the prisoners are kind of afraid of church.
Yep.
They know the churches, and they go, oh, Living Word, huh? That's that big, nice one. It kind of makes me nervous. I said, why? Well, like I wouldn't be welcome there. I said, buddy, you see this logo, you walk in, you ask for the mayor. I said, even the pastors know that's my name. They will find me. I said, I sit with a dude in the front row with tattoos in the back of his head. You will not be judged. Everything's fine. They will accept you there. That's church.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Come on down. We'll take care of you. And then Strop, he's one of our tribesmen from Eagle Tribe. He's a barber. He goes, and he was also in the system. He can't be in with us, but he's like, look, I want to help. When they get out, I'll give them a fresh cut, and we'll talk to them. We'll try and get them set up with the guys, because that's a big thing, I guess, is getting in there, getting their cut, looking right. He goes, and we'll try to help them find that job, find that car, find the whatever. And we had our first guy, which is 100% all because of Dozer. We had our first guy finally leave the prison. He was in for 15 months and came to Keystone Tribe Wednesday night, which was awesome. Dozer, you can tell your story of Shane, but I think that was just phenomenal.
Yeah, so he came in and he just looked angry. I mean, he basically sat head kind of crooked and just mad at the world. And I kind of watched him through that night. And I don't even remember who had the Devo that night, but I just kept watching him thinking, man, this guy's really upset. Which, you're in jail, of course you're upset, but he was especially upset, right? So at the end, I don't know, I guess it was definitely, well, I do know. God told me. Talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he was getting ready to go, and I said, hey, I said, what was your name, Shane? And he said, yeah. And I said, let me talk to you a minute. And I asked him, I said, what's going on? And he said, oh, you know, I'm angry. He's like, I'm mad where I have anger issues. I've tried everything. And I thought I would at least just try this God stuff. And, you know, essentially is what he said. And I said, well, here, let me do this. I said, let me circle your name. And because we have a sign-in sheet that we have to for accountability for the prison. And so let me circle your name, and I'll get the chaplain to speak with you this week. And I did, and the chaplain went and apparently spoke to him, because the next week he comes in, smile. I mean, all teeth. Came in there, and he had two buddies with him, and they were like, "Come on, man, tell him what happened." And he's like, "Nah, I ain't gonna tell him. I ain't gonna tell." And I said, "Come on, tell me. You happy this week? Like, I ain't used to seeing you like this. You look miserable." And he's like, "Hey, I got saved this week." And, you know, I told him, I said, "Look, I'm not an emotional person. I'm really just not." I said, "But, man, that made me feel emotional in that moment."
Yeah.
It was exciting. I have never in my life, you know, you talk about God. You talk about how you feel, how you believe. You do devos, you lead Sunday school, whatever it might be. And for whatever reason, I've only ever planted the seed. I've never started to see it grow. And I was like, this is amazing. So he got out. Apparently he went to Celebrate Recovery Program. Saw a guy at, we have up in Norwood, it's called, there's a church called the Biker Church, and it's literally that. Saw a guy with a Men's Alliance shirt on. Asked him, he knew
Ripper.
Then he got in touch
Ripper
with
called
Mayor.
So you in the prison?
Mayor asked me about this guy, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know he was at." You know, I was wondering where he's been. Anyway, number, and before I know it, he shows up at Keystone Tribe. And unfortunately, because we do Wednesday nights working with youth at the art church at LCBC, I wasn't able to go to Keystone. But him, Mayor, and was Axe was there.
Axe was there, yeah.
And received him, and that's what they need. Right. And apparently, I'm kind of mad I missed it because he got right in. He contributed. He did the workout like a beast, which I kind of thought he would, at least the workout part.
Yeah, we did the workout together. I made sure to stay with him, and then we were around the fire talking, and he even got involved. He had great input. I mean, he's like, I've been reading the Bible every day.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to stay on.
So what was his name again? Shane?
Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the efforts.
It's worth
like
it.
if it was just to save Shane, right? All that stuff that you guys have done, man, you got one.
Yeah. And
Dude,
that's kind of what I was thinking. It was like, because we were just looking at August 12th was our first day in there. And if it took all of that to get to one guy,
Yeah.
it was worth every minute of it. And if it's all we ever get is one guy, it's been a worth it ride. And furthermore, so my wife, she has her own ministry, and it's Authentic Pursuits Ministry, and she saw how I love serving in the prison. Like, I look forward to Monday every single week, no matter what. I'm always looking forward to this. So she was like, "Well, I'd like to get involved in that." She saw how it changed my life, saw the value in ministering to people in prison, and she's actually working with that. And then through her ministry, got another time slot on Saturdays to work with another female unit. So it's just kind of like, it's contagious.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what they need. That's what we should be doing. Like, go get them. I mean, Jesus did. He ran and got them in the worst way possible, wherever they were, the lowest points in their life. So that's great. I love it.
So you guys have been talking about how you have it set up and all that, the plans for when they get out and setting them up, getting them into a tribe. But the prison as a whole, since you guys have started this, have you seen, like, obviously the impact on Shane, but have you seen a change in the inmates that are going, or just in the prison in general? Like, are you seeing the difference in maybe some of the guards? Like, how is just that devotion, that Men's Alliance presence impacted the prison?
Well, I can tell you from my perspective, walking through the hallways, because I don't usually go into the rooms when they're doing the services. I want it to be a safe space for inmates, not to worry about, hey, the warden's there, what's he doing, right? Yeah. So
I was going to say, because you'll always be the warden, to an inmate, no matter how.
But the cool thing is, I feel like walking down the hallway, they recognize me, they know my face, they know that I'm, on the units, they know who I am. So I feel comfortable in Walmart or Sam's standing next to an inmate. Never have an issue.
That's good.
It's a respect thing at the prison. I think we know this from, you can be really effective if you're just a good person.
Yeah.
You treat people right. So I don't think I have an issue with that. Most inmates they know that I love Ohio State. Things like, they know a lot about me. Probably know where I live.
Right.
No worries at all. They probably know where you live too, by the way. But I have noticed that there's some church services that happen quite a bit. You're walking by, you see a lot of inmates that are kind of not really paying attention to what's going on. They're looking around, they look who's out in the hallways, or just kind of there socializing.
They're there for that escape.
Exactly. Yeah, socializing, right? When I walked in and saw you guys, there wasn't a face looking anywhere near the hallway. I mean, they looked like they were pretty locked in. So I can say I haven't seen every service, but from what I saw for the very first time, they seemed like they were really, really in tune. So I think that this is something that they can really connect with. It's not that you don't want people from different churches coming in and providing those services. They do a wonderful job, a great job. But in terms of connection, if somebody kind of looks like you, talks like you, acts like you, have gone through what you've gone through, that's why peer support is such a big thing now. Lived experience is what they're looking for when you look for a peer support specialist. You don't hire anybody who's never been a drug addict to deal with drug addicts.
Right.
Peer support with lived experience is worth its weight in gold. So I think this is not much different in your case, right? You're probably more impactful unfortunately, than the mayor is. And that's probably a hard pill for some of us to swallow, but
You guys can kick me out anytime you want.
no, but it's the truth, right? It really is. So, not that they don't trust you. Of course they trust you, Mayor. Everybody trusts the mayor, but no. So
I sit right in the middle with them.
you do, you do,
Feel comfortable.
right? No doubt. So yeah, I would say that from what I've noticed, they really seem locked in compared to other services I've seen.
What kind of questions are you finding? Is there more apologetics questions that you get more than others? Like, what's a popular one?
It is a lot of apologetics. It's a lot of Bible stuff. We talk about it a ton. Like, we kind of powwow afterwards outside and go, okay, how we do good, how we do bad. Just kind of neat with one guy running it.
Yeah.
The other guy's there for support. You get to kind of watch, to his Forge's point, watch for the glaze over. Chap said that most of the time these groups get 8 to 12 guys. 12 is like a ton. We're tapping out at like 30 guys for like the last few Mondays running. It's crazy. The number keeps going. Like, we'll see a row of guys come in, go, okay, great, let's get started. Then somehow another row's going to come in. I'm like, we filled the room again.
Is it because what you're talking about?
We believe it's 100%. We're talking about the Bible. We're not singing music. We're not doing hymns. We're not sharing personal stories. If someone gets a little bit too far down the road of this is what I did on Tuesday, you see the eyes glaze over. But if you're, I did one in the Sermon on the Mount. Because I wanted, and I think I'd actually asked Forge about them, like, how's it going to go if I do a whole hour on this is what your rules are? Like, are they gonna be mad at me? No, I think that's great. And they just had tons of questions about it, and it had so many questions we broke it down over 2 sessions, because they're like, how do you do that? How do you love your enemy? Like they're your best friend. I don't understand. I'm supposed to pray for my enemy now, but I'm in prison, and this is a guy that wronged me, and like, I might be here because of this person. I don't understand this. I don't like that. So they ask a ton of questions about that, the apologetics portion, and how we're supposed to give it to God, and how we're supposed to look up, how they could be in prison for the rest of their lives, yet still thank God for being in that situation. Man, they're like, that's a deep one. That's tough. I know, right? And one of our pastors at our church, he shared with me something that was, I think, phenomenal. We've said it a bunch, is the only difference between you guys over there and me here is you were caught. And that really helps. You want to talk about make them feel great, like, guys, because I bring that up to try and relate. I don't hide it. I'm like, look, I've never been in here. This is the first time I've been in here.
Right.
Like
that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, we can chum up with it, but I've done horrible crap just like you. So I guarantee it. I've got stuff that I'm not proud of. I've got stuff that I wish was not in my past, and that's the only difference, is you got caught and I didn't. And I'm here to help you and ask questions, and we go through the rules. What's said here stays here, and don't die.
Don't forget the third one we added.
What's that?
What's that?
Well, we had to add one specifically in there, which was, hey, we're here because we respect and care about you. Please show us the respect.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Stop the talking. Because they do get a little chatty,
Yeah.
We go over the creed. We go over every time what Men's Alliance is about, where the tribes are, where it's supposed to be held at. And then we challenge them to pray, which is, again, huge in there, because you could be that guy stand up and pray. You walk out the room, and later they're going, "You big boss," you know.
Yeah.
And the very first time I said, "Dozer, I think I'm gonna ask someone to pray today, pray us in instead of us doing it." Some guy stood up and he goes, I think it was Hernando maybe stand up, and he's like, "I don't speak the best English, but I'll try. So you sound great to me, buddy. Go ahead." Yeah. And he rocked it. And now every time we have them pray us in and pray us out, we get different guys to volunteer. And we're seeing a lot of new guys start to talk. Those guys in the back room that look angry, like I ain't saying anything. They're just there to get out. And last week we had, it was Nathan spoke up, and this guy's never said anything. He's probably been there since August. And he finally felt comfortable and just started talking. And I was like, man, thank you. And that's huge. You're talking about the empathy. And notice, I made thank you for speaking up, man. So I don't want that to get looked over. I know it's tough in here sharing. He was like, yeah, out there, you got to watch it, and you can't share like this. And in here, I can relax. I can take it down. And so it's cool seeing that you are making a difference with these guys, and they want to know about Jesus. They want to know about the Bible. They want to know, okay, if I'm sitting here and I'm stuck here forever, how am I supposed to be okay with that? So Dozer's right. The biblical knowledge is huge.
Do you got a lot of lifers in there?
I was just say I don't really think so. So one thing that I've always have told guys, the guys who are working with us, is, just be cautious not to ask them what they're here for.
Right.
I don't want to know how long they're here for.
Okay.
And basically what I tell them every week is, hey, if you're here, come here on Monday nights. If you're released, even better, right? Mm-hmm. But no, I think we were talking about that on the way down too. They have a maximum amount of time that they can stay in that facility.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a long-term.
We're actually
place
called
or
a
not.
prison, but we operate as a jail.
Okay.
It's just a statutory reason why they're called a prison. But one day less than 2 years is the typical.
Do you find a lot of guys with that profess to be different religions that come? Like, I know during Ramadan everybody's a Muslim, in jail. Because the food's better.
I don't think we haven't found too many guys that profess to be different religions. They're just confused. They're lost. I mean, we had a guy once that said, if there's any way you can get me a Bible with the red writing in it, mine doesn't have the red writing in it. I'd love to know what Jesus said. I'm like, we will figure out a way to get you that Bible to the chick, because we can't give it to them. They got to go to the chaplain, give it in. Right. Their knowledge of it, I mean, they can only stay there for a little less than 2 years, but there's a ton of guys that are like, I've been in jail for 18 years. Yeah. They can't. I was like, you got to stop coming back here. And they just keep finding a way to get in there. And to them, this 2-year stint is, I've just always been in jail. And they're asking really, really good questions. That's the part that's enjoyable. And even the tribesmen we have coming in with us, man, it's a different bunch of guys. It's not all dozers or mayors. It's like we have a whole plethora of guys that are really starting to care and want to get in, just to give back and try and see how they can help, which is great.
I think some guys, I mean, they probably would hate to admit it, but if they were really honest with themselves, jail is their safe space, and that's where they feel most comfortable, and that's why they keep coming back, because sometimes jail is a lot warmer and more comfortable than a park bench, and that's all a lot of guys have sometimes,
Yeah.
Well, you're right with that, because I remember being in a jail where they were like, I do crimes in the winter
right. Yep. Yeah.
But honestly, if guys that are going to a facility that only does 2 years, they break the law 10 times and get 2 years, that's a life sentence.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just doing it in smaller chunks.
Right.
You might have a little bit of break in between, but it's a life sentence.
Yeah.
So, it's just nice to be able to grasp them and try and show them something different.
So since Goose isn't here, I had the laptop so I could pretend to be the smart guy, right? So I looked up, dude, about 2/3 of people released from state and federal penitentiaries are rearrested within 3 years. Mm-hmm. And like that stat right there, when I was looking through all this stuff, man, like, how important is this reentry thing that you guys are working on? Yeah. How important is having a tribe that you're not getting back into your old ways, right? You've got guys that are going to keep you accountable, right? To avoid 2/3, man. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
that one that Dozer talked about, because eventually that one is going to be a really important guy that was on the streets, and he's going to get a lot of guys to go, we're done with this. We're going to come in, and it's going to, if you don't give up what God wants us to do, and we know this is what he wants us to do, all of a sudden you're going to have 10 guys roll up one day and go, what are you doing, Shane? Oh, well, these are the other guys. They're going to do this now. And it's just going to be awesome. I mean, it will be absolutely awesome when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, just quickly, I mean, what I think is most important. So you say, how important is it?
Mm-hmm.
I think critical would be the level of importance. And just having people with the right mindset that don't have any kind of judgment towards the people you're ministering to. I know that just in the interest of time, I'll just tell quickly about this really fast. We had a situation, our daughter, our oldest, was domestically assaulted. Her attacker, that's who my grandson's father is. Mm-hmm. He went to jail. And, sometimes it hits home. Mm-hmm. The crime, all of a sudden, you were the criminal, and now the crime was committed against your family. My wife and I had to have a conversation with that guy because that's my grandson's father.
Yeah.
What we resolved is this. We forgave him a long time ago because although it was destructive and disruptive to our entire lives, and the surgeries and like brain surgeries she had to walk through, Jesus said forgive him regardless. So if I can I guess forgive and try and find some kind of restoration in that relationship with someone who personally attacked someone in my family, how much more should I be able to give somebody that didn't affect me when they did their crimes? I just think that's got to be the mindset going in, is that clean slate mindset. In terms of you've never met the person. Mm-hmm. They're just another sinner who has got to be saved and find this relationship, or else no matter what they've done, without that, I mean, we all know without that, they're going to hell. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't want their blood on my hands.
Well, man, Jesus really set a good example for us, though, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't just say, hey, turn the other cheek or forgive your enemy. As he was going to the cross and enduring all that pain, right? He was living out what he was saying.
Yeah.
Setting that example for us to do what you're saying, to be able to go through that and live that out. Be able to forgive the person that's wronging you or wronging your family, right? Because what he did for us, that's what we're trying to emulate, right? So, man.
And oddly enough, just to finish that quickly, with that particular situation, with that attack, I ended up face to face with him the night of the attack. And I have told everyone, as much as I struggle with anger, impulse control, being in a situation where I was face to face with him, I will tell anybody, I was screaming from the rooftop. I know that Jesus himself that night came down, stood between me and him, and when I looked at him, I saw a scared little boy who made a bad decision while Jesus held my arms to my side and I couldn't move.
Wow.
Because I can tell you, anybody who would have known me from, I'll say BC for myself, would have known that win, lose, or draw, I'd have broke his neck.
We know what your flesh wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was like completely out of your character.
No, and it
what
speaks
people know about
volumes
you.
to what God can do
That's amazing,
inside of here. So,
Because I think we all think about that. Like, what would I do if somebody wronged my kids? You know, and I think we can scare ourselves. Like,
absolutely.
What I'll end up in jail for the rest of my life. So it's kind of neat that God preserved her and you. That night. So that's pretty neat.
That's awesome. I just want to touch on your comment about reentry and 2/3 of people making their way back to prison or jail. So I look at it as 2/3 of those people coming back to jail, and then that's not just getting bad guys off the street. So we have thousands and thousands of families without a dad, without a brother, without a mother, right? And all these families that now have single family incomes, or maybe Maybe the child's living in foster care, a child's living with grandma, right? No parents. So what happens then is a generational thing. They grew up with their parents in jail or dad in jail. They have less opportunity. They end up in jail. And it's just a recurring thing over and over and over. It becomes generational, right? If you save one person that you talked about, that one person that made it all worth it, that's one family that now has a mom and dad. Then their kids have opportunity. And then the butterfly effect of their kids having opportunity. And that's just one person, right? If you look at an actual butterfly effect of that, someone being at home, and oh, by the way, now we're going to bring God into our family and God into the household, because now he started going to Men's Alliance and learning about who this Jesus was. Now their kids know who this Jesus was. And you talk about the butterfly effect of having God inside of a family, being Christ-centered in a family. That family is going to thrive. That's just one. Now imagine if you save 10.
Yeah.
Imagine if we save 100. The butterfly effect from that. So this is pretty big stuff.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
That's why one of our donor levels is 93, because the 93%, like if a father goes to church and a father comes to Christ, right? He has a 93% chance of leading his family. Right. So going to what you were saying, like that ripple effect, well, getting that father back into the house, especially if he's been exposed to Men's Alliance and men leading him in devotions, right? Showing him what scripture is, like the influence that Jesus has on us, and then putting him back in that house, man, that just the 93 is what stuck out to me. I'm like, man, he's one of that 93% right there. So that ripple effect that he's about to have.
Yeah. I think what I'm taking away from this, and especially having a jail, a ministry in the jail, is just like that verse, what the devil means for evil, Jesus will turn it for his good, So it's like Satan thinks he's won, when he's got somebody in the jail, and you guys are in there turning a bad experience into something good that they probably never would have heard about before, So thank you for letting God work through this organization and in your lives. Huge impact. I mean, like you said, I don't think we'll ever know the ripple effect of one action or one conversation that we can have, at least on this side of heaven. But I think
I
this
make
is
a
great.
joke in the tribes, and I'm like, everybody has that vision of, man, we go up to heaven and the angels and the trumpets, and man, I can't wait to get in. And God turns aside and goes, look, here's all the people that you impacted. And I'm still of the belief of, I shouldn't be where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy of any of this. I'm just excited if I walk up there and the gate's kind of like flapping open, and I can kind of peek in and go, Jesus, hello? And he's in there, and he knows I'm mayor, which is, I'm hoping that's the case. Jesus goes, oh, hey, mayor. Yeah, come on in, buddy. This is okay.
Yeah.
I get in, and he goes, by the way, there's Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, who's Steve? Oh, Steve's the one guy you helped.
Yeah.
Regardless of all the work we think we've done our whole lives,
Yeah.
they're just as excited that Steve is there over the, oh, I think I helped all these people.
Or in this case, Shane.
Yeah.
Shane's going to be there now.
Shane could be that guy. and I
Because
could
you
be-
guys
needs to be just as
started
jacked as
this in that prison.
I hope Shane's listening.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out Shane.
that. He will be.
And
Can't
I'll
wait to
just
see you
say,
around the fire.
Yeah, we'll make sure he gets access to this somehow. But most importantly too, or another most important thing in my mind is, and this is something I'm doing. Our family doesn't do a resolutions for the year.
Yeah.
We do word for the year.
Yeah.
And I chose serve. Right. I've never done it. I always watch everybody else do it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll pick one eventually.
Yeah.
So mine should have been procrastinate a lot. No, so I picked serve. But then, I don't know, God just makes you do things that you don't want to do. I think. And I start thinking, man, if I'm going to serve well, I need to invest. But not in others, in me. That'll help me to invest in others. So then, as much as I would joke with these guys, and I'd be like, I don't know, I've gotten to coin level. But that's probably all I'm ever doing, right? Because everything else sounds terrible, in my opinion. I'd be like, Mayor, tell these guys about Patch, because I'll never do it. Ha, 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 that kind of thing. And then now I'm going to do it this year. So,
Oh, man.
I just felt like it was another way. I love that whole, from what you're allowed to know about it right at this stage. It just sounded like, you know what? I think that's a great way to invest in myself.
Yeah.
100%.
To be able to serve.
Yeah.
Right.
Both of these guys are signed up for the June patch
The
class.
first ever Carry the Fire FTX going to be held in Pennsylvania in June.
Nice.
So excited about that.
All right.
I mean, and just to point out, I think one of the reasons Mayor is so impactful, right, is because he went through the most epic, the most memorable, the best ever Patch Class 8. You guys may have heard of us. But no, man, that's like what he was saying.
That's what you guys will say about your Patch Class.
Right. Yeah. We went to the last.
That's what you're supposed to say.
Everyone.
It won't be true, but you'll say it.
But like the apologetics, right? The discipleship, everything that you learn through Carry the Fire, man, is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Just like he said, you getting those questions, like the hardest question. You guys probably get that a lot with the suffering and evil. Why does
why do bad things happen
Right.
to good people?
Yeah,
Basically,
you probably hear that all the time because guys are in a place where they're suffering and struggling, and we focus on that. We have a whole week dedicated to that, right? So that's one of the things. Since you brought up Carry the Fire, I'm plugging it. Man, it is one of the most life-changing events that you'll ever go through. Not just the FTX, where you'll come and have unforgettable experience and a bonding with other men that you will be the old guys at Hardee's talking about it, sipping your coffee. Right?
Wearing-
I
wearing
remember
your
when
patch
we
hats.
were in, But the ability to be able to share with guys, to share the gospel, to answer with truth, right? That is, I mean, you can't even put a price on what you get when you go through that course. So excited for you guys to start that up.
We're excited.
Class is starting
You should be.
around March.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to let me know how it goes.
Yeah. And, even furthermore than just taking it into the prison. And I know Forge has children, and, I have 2 sons I'm raising. And girls who I want to model what they should be looking for. I just think that this is going to solve or scratch all those itches. And then I can't believe I'm going to say this publicly because I don't know what your viewership is, but now a lot of guys are going to know that through this whole experience, I have been feeling a major tug, and I'm not there yet, but I'm listening to God's call, but to become or try to become a prison chaplain.
Wow.
Because
Amen, brother.
it has been that impactful. Hey, it's a blessing for them, but I feel like I'm the one getting blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I never thought in a million years that I would think, oh, yeah, I'm going to go back and want to work there, but I just can't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
Well, you may not have the official title from the prison as a prison chaplain, but you are a prison chaplain when you go in there every week and, you're preaching the gospel and you're impacting these guys' lives. So you're a prison chaplain in our book, So I think that's awesome, man. That's an awesome goal. And, you got to listen to God. I think if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. People say, well, I can't do things for God because I've done all these things. Like I'm not worthy. Like Mayor said, he's not worthy. And he's right. You are not worthy to do anything for God. All God wants is your willingness, and he can do anything as long as he has a willing body to do his bidding. So you're listening to that call. Anything else you guys want to say? We covered everything.
Yeah, I just appreciate the experience,
Yeah.
The platform to be able to, challenge, because that's what Men's Allowance is all about, right?
Yeah.
Everything's a challenge. Challenge other men in other states to possibly look into trying to do that in their
Yeah.
in their states.
An FTX If we do a patch class in a jail, you think your attorney has problems now with just a workout? Phew, it's going to be some liability, my friend.
What you got?
I was going to say the same thing that Dozer said.
Yeah.
It's, just because you have a no right away doesn't mean this you can't keep trying, right? There's a way to do things, even if you have to modify. I know it's a scary thing inside of a jail to have this type of ministry. It's a little bit different than what most chaplains are probably used to seeing from volunteers from churches. But I just would ask, your chaplains of these different jails and maybe different administrators, go out and see one of the Men's Alliance groups one weekend. Go out and check out the tribe, see what it's all about. Then that fear will kind of probably diminish, and you can see what they're all about. We look scary in beards and tattoos, but we're not scary people, right? We're here for God. So
That's awesome. Where can a guy find if a tribe's near him?
At men'salliancetribe.com. So you go to our website and we have a tab that says tribes. You can go on there, put your zip code in, and it'll tell you what tribes we have within 150, 25, 15 miles of your location. And man, they're popping up 1,
Like
2,
wildfire.
4 every week. We're popping up more and more. And man, especially to this, like I hope you guys listening, especially the tribesmen, if you're already in Men's Alliance and you hear that challenge, they just challenged you. If you have that, you hear that call, this is something that men need in that place. And you may be that person that can take this ministry to the place where the men need it. We talk about, you hear it all the time, meeting people where they are, pointing them to Jesus. Well, guess what? If you can get in there, if you have a setup like Forge, you have a connection like that, and you have a desire and a calling like Dozer, man, don't wait. Don't procrastinate, right? Take that opportunity and bring this ministry to those guys where they are.
Yeah. All right. We good?
I think so.
All right. Well, thank y'all for coming, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you guys.
guys.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you for coming, and thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah. We'll see y'all around the fire.
Hey guys, listen up. I've got huge news. This coming May 2nd through 4th, we are having our first ever Men's Alliance National Rally. This is going to be the biggest, greatest gathering of barbarian ambassadors from every tribe all over the country coming together for one weekend in a state park. You can come camp out or you can stay in a local hotel, but it is going to be an incredible time. We want every tribe across the country to road trip to this rally. We are bringing you the absolute best speakers in the country. Greg Kokel, author of Tactics, founder of Stand to Reason. He will be a headlining speaker, along with Stephen Mansfield, New York Times bestselling author of Band of Brothers, which has helped me start Men's Alliance. He's also the author of Men on Fire. We're going to have Pastor Brian Hughes from Passion Community Church there leading us on Sunday morning worship service outdoors. It's going to be incredible. We're going to have the Barbarian Games at the rally Friday night with live metal music performed by Saved by Scarlet. Then Saturday morning is the first national all tribes. It's going to be epic. Go to our website, click on National Rally, get your tickets. It's going to fill up. It's going to be a great time of outdoor camping, music, workouts, speakers, and sharpening one another. Don't miss the rally. To find out more about what we're doing and to join us on our mission, go to men'salliancetribe.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a 5-star review.